Today I'll be talking to you about the evolution of the sloth, specifically the three-toed sloth. For my first part, I'll be going over the classification of the sloth, the environment it lives in, where it lives, and the diet of the sloth. To start, the sloth comes from the domain Eukarya, kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Exanthera, family Bradypodotide, genus Bradypus, species Bradypus tridactylus. The sloth prefers a very warm environment with wooded area, specifically the tropical forests of South America. The diet of the sloth consists mainly of vegetation, as all sloths on the planet are vegetarian. I will now, for the second part of my presentation, be talking to you about some adaptations and variations that the sloth gained over the years. When the sloth first came to the world, around 50 million years ago, it was about the size of a woolly mammoth. This meant that the sloths could be faster. The speed of the sloths would allow them to outrun predators, as well they were bigger, so it would scare off predators. The disadvantage of this, though, was that when humans came, they would hunt them easier in packs, which eventually led to their extinction. The sloth over time went from a fast speed to a slower speed. This also had some disadvantages and some advantages. The speed that they used to have would allow them to outrun predators, but now they could not. But this allowed the sloth to hide more and essentially allowed it to thrive because predators could not find them. The third and final adaptation is the growth of algae along the sloth. This was very good for the sloth, as it allowed the sloth to be camouflaged inside the tropical rainforest of South America. It also allowed the sloths to gain extra nutrition, as the algae would feed them throughout the day. I am now going to be talking to you about fossil records. These are very important while studying the evolution of sloths and help scientists distinguish between the larger sloths and the smaller sloths that are currently here today. This is because the current sloths do not show a clear representation of the trends of growth that the older sloths used to have. The newer sloths are considered the black sheep of the sloth family. It would be hard to imagine a small vegetarian mammal that is today being the large megatheriid ground sloth that used to occur in the wild. These disproportions are very common in fossil records and show a very clear path of evolution of many animals and how they are very different from when they used to be to how they are now, as is the case of the sloth. As previously stated, around 50 million years ago, the sloths were around the size of mammoths. This was true until up about 10,000 years ago, when almost 90% of sloths went through a mass extinction. This is likely due to human activity, and the Ice Age must have had an effect too. Humans would hunt down sloths for their fur and also for their meat. It appears though that a small population of sloths were able to survive in a warm environment due to their skill of being camouflaged and staying away from humans. The warm environment also helped them thrive and survive to find the vegetation that they needed for food. The final trait of evolution I will be talking to you about involving the sloth are homologous structures. 50 million years ago and current day sloths share these same structures. The first structure are the bone structure. The bones in the sloth might have gotten bigger or smaller, but they have relatively stayed the same. They are shaped like a monkey. This allows them to easily climb up trees and get away from predators as fast as possible. The marquee point of a sloth is its claws. These claws are huge. They allow the sloth to get to vegetation, to climb trees, and to hang from trees for almost 19 hours a day. These have not changed over the 50 million years. They also help fend off predators from attacking. The final homologous structure that I'll be talking about are the teeth of a sloth. The teeth of a sloth have not changed. They are very sharp teeth that help them dig into predators if they attack, as well as dig into vegetation when they need it. This allows them to get to vegetation that would be harder to eat if their teeth were softer and less sharp. To conclude my presentation, I would just like to show you the amazing evolution of the sloth. It has gone from once the size of a woolly mammoth to the small, lazy animal we know today. It has traveled a long path over 50 million years, and it is amazing that even through a mass extinction, it has been able to survive in a harsh environment in South America. The sloth is a very interesting animal and is close to endangerment, so we would like to keep it thriving in that environment as long as possible.